All right, we've done the DPS, we've done the tanks, and last but not least is the current, as of today, healer M plus rating. What I think the tier list will be, and as always, I'm sure people are going to disagree. But hey, if you have a different opinion, put it in the comments below. We can discuss what we think is best and throw your point of view and see what you think. We're going to start off with Disc Priest. I don't know what order these are in, but they're in here. Disc Priest is S tier, even after the nerfs. Yes, it got nerfed. Yes, it is a 15% to Shadow Covenant, but yes, you still have the short Mindbender, which will be your Void Wraith. But Disc Priest is S tier for two reasons. One is a little thing called PI, which really makes a group, crush that DPS even higher. Perfect example is Enhancement Shaman. Enhancement Shaman would not have been doing the DPS last season without a Disc Priest. They are significantly less powerful without a Disc Priest. Number two reason, pain suppression. Disc Priest is the only spec, I believe, in the game with a double damage reduction that it can put out. It is phenomenal. It's still going to do very good healing and DPS. Will it be quite as good as Season 1? No, not quite as good, but it will still be up there. The old Evoker. Evoker is... The throughput is good, but it is going to struggle this season. It's going to struggle for a couple reasons. This season currently is shaping up to be a lot of range. Some of the best specs in the game are Destro, Fire, Ellie, Boomkin. There are a couple melees, don't get me wrong, but some of the best specs in the game are range. And Evoker, with its directional abilities and its range limitation, are going to struggle. If it was a melee heavy comp, Evoker could see it going up in value a little more, but it's going to suffer due to a bunch of restrictions it has. It brings a good toolkit and it does some great throughput on healing. It doesn't do the most DPS, but you can really do a throughput on healing. Holy Paladin. It just got buffed again. 4% all healing. This is a tough one. It's like low B. The problem is Holy Paladins can't play the way they want. You can't be, or you probably won't build with the best build, a all melee paladin like some people want, or you won't be a full caster paladin. You will be a hybrid of both, which just pisses off both sides of the people. I prefer the melee paladin more than the caster, but that's the way I prefer to play. It's my preference. And then being in melee is always a bit more of a downfall than being at range, and they just don't have the throughput as the other melee healer, which I do enjoy, which is coming up. And it's a tough call. It could go either way. We're gonna put it in C, just because. Why not? Holy Priest. Holy Priest it's much better in raid than it is in Mythic Plus. Mythic Plus, it's a little more proc reliant, and it's not really the best healer if you have multiple big damage going out consistently. It's good if you need a spot heal. Like if you had single target healing the whole time, like Holy Priest would be way up here. But it doesn't do what Disc Priest does. It doesn't have a short cooldown on its AoE healing. So it's going to go near the bottom. It does bring PI, which is great. It has a pretty decent toolkit, but that doesn't have a kick. It's got a fear on a very long CD. And for that reason, the AoE, lack of multiple AoE healing, is going to bring it down. I think the HPS on Holy Priest is going to be significantly less than most of the other ones above it. Mistweaver. Mistweaver is doing just great right now. It could, for all intents and purposes, go S tier. It does have some fantastic damage. It has some fantastic healing. Outside of your cooldowns, you kind of have to stand still to cast some heavy damage, and you still have to prep for it. And I still probably will use the Peer talent to have Soothing Myth follow your casts. just because if you don't have Chi-Ji, if you don't have Shaylins, and you don't have Revival, you really will struggle to keep people up with just doing Ancient Teachings healing. So that for that reason, it's just going to go in A tier. It's not quite where the other two, spoiler alerts, are going. But yeah, it is very good. And then if any nerfs come through to the other two, it could significantly switch spots. So for now, it's going to go A tier and leave it right as it is. Resto Druid. Do I think Resto Druid does more than Disc Priest? Healing wise, yes. Utility wise, no. Um, for that reason, I'm going to put it in the S tier because it is cranking the HPS healing meters. But I don't believe it brings as much as Disc Priest. You only have Iron Bark kind of to stop preemptive damage. As long as you got your hots rolling, you can do some good healing. But Disc Priest has the damage reduction with the double pain suppression and the barrier, and I think that's more valuable than Resto Druid, even with its higher HPS. So Resto Druid does more healing than Disc Priest, but Disc Priest has more ways to, get a DR on people to stop the damage being as high. Resto Druid is going to be a very good healer of the season unless anything changes. And fuck, after the season 1 where they got buffed almost every week, they should be a damn good healer now. But it is, it's definitely up there. Definitely throwing out HPS, and DPS is okay. It's not the highest DPS by any means, but it does good DPS nonetheless. Resto Shaman. Resto Shaman, weirdly enough, got buffed on the HPS, is not where it needed it. Resto Shaman does very good HPS. It's probably got the best utility in the game for a healer, not speaking of DRs. But it's got stuns and knockups and the shortest kick in the game for a healer. It does very good healing. But the downfall is its DPS is pretty dog shit for a healer. It's one of the worst DPSs in the game for healers. I know healer DPS doesn't matter tremendously, but when you start getting up there, it starts to matter a bit more. So for that reason, it is going to go ahead of Evoker because it's a lot easier to play than Evoker. But it doesn't quite do what Mistweaver can do for DPS and healing. Whereas it will bring a shit ton of utility with your stuns, knockups, and all your, cleanse totems, all that fun stuff. But it will fall short on the damage. Not that that's a huge thing, but every little bit helps at some point when some other classes just do it that much better. This is where we're sitting for the healer tier list, and this is going to get tuned. Don't kid yourselves. This is 11.1 launching today. So keep an eye out. This will be tuned. My projection is we are going to the raid live next week. I think they're going to clear it in a week and a half, and the following week's going to be the final tuning. So keep an eye out for that. Anyways, let me know in the comments if you agree, where you'd like to see some other ones. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that fun shit, and we'll see you in the next video.